भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Mundaka Upanishad, and we were now in the starting point of the third Mundaka, the first chapter, and we had half studied the fourth shloka. And now, in the remaining few shlokas of the last Mundaka, the third Mundaka, the main theme will be instruction. What we must do if we seriously want to reach the promised land, oneness with the divine. What we must do. A. And while doing so, as because by habit and nature we are extroverts, tasmat param pashyanti nantaratman, we have been made in such a manner we always look outwards. The highlight of this methodology and instruction will be learn to see inwards. So with all these very subtle suggestions, the Upanishadkar Maharishi Angirasha will teach us now in the remaining shlokas how to go about it and with what determination, with what persistence, without any interruption, without any let, without any hindrance. Continuous. Why? That continuity is a flow of saturation of your personality. Once you stop, dirt will again infiltrate you. So give no chance to dirt to infiltrate you. Therefore, it has to be continuing process. No let, no hindrance, no interruption. All this will be developed in the remaining about 18 shlokas. Now, let us get into the study. The first two shlokas were examples of the two birds of the same plumage living in the same tree. That is the example. What does it exemplify? It exemplifies this body is now considered to be a tree. In this body, there are two different, I would say, elements. One is Jivatman, another is Paramatman. Now, let us not be carried away by words. The Atman is highest common between the two, the common factor between the two. Parama Atman, Jiva Atman. Parama Atma, Jiva Atma. The word Atma is common. That means I have one identity. I am that Atman. But as of now, I do not know what you are talking. to say you are the soul, you are the divine, is almost sacrilegious Greek to me. I don't understand head and tail of what you are saying. So, the Jivatman and the concept of Paramatman gives you an understanding. Your true original nature is Paramatman. You are the sublime, you are the divine. But when I hear that, it does not register anything in me, rather it appears to be something stupid. I am a dynamic human being living in this world, interacting with the world with my 5 sense organs and my 6 propensities, and I react accordingly. And this is my life flows, swinging like a pendulum between pleasure and pain, happiness and sadness, ecstasy and agony. I am that. How can you call me I am the soul? He says, look, listen to my example. Divide it now into 2 parts. Birds of the same plumage, they look the same. Atman is the same in the concept of Jivatman, and Atman is the same in the concept of Paramatman. What is the difference? Jivatman, Tayor Anna Pippalam Sadhu Atti. Of the 2 birds living in the same body, Jivatman is that who keeps on pecking at fruits of the tree. By example, the pecking at fruits of the tree and making faces according to the reaction of the taste. I, as a Jiva Atma, am involved in this world and I keep on pecking at everything through my 5 sense organs. And I react to these experiences. Sometimes I am in ecstasy, sometimes I am in agony. Sometimes I am in rage, sometimes I am in regret and repentance. Sometimes I am a victim of greed. And when my desire is not being fulfilled, I am in a tearing rage. All these are reactionaries' personality faults. Why? Because I am involving it. Whereas the other bird of the same plumage, living in the same body, the other bird, he has gone beyond this experimentation. He is high up in the topmost branch on a twig, as it were, swinging majestically in the breeze, looking at the whole universe and whistling and chirping with joy. That concept of the bird is the concept of Paramatman, not involved in this world, but involved in the absolute reality, Parama Satyam Ritam. This is what it is, the first shloka. The second shloka is exemplifying Samane Brikshe Purusham Nivagnam Anishaya Shochati Mujjamanam. Now he is exemplifying the exemplification. Example. He is exemplifying the example. Samane Brikshe, in the same tree, that is in the same body. When you are mistaking your identity as a jiva, you keep on reacting with the world and make yourself a victim of confusion, agony, and so on and so forth. Even pleasure and pain is fleeting. While you are enjoying, you are afraid of losing it. It is short term, it is transitory. It will not be lifelong while you are enjoying. So, as a person who is involved with his ego in the world, he goes through this chain of agony and ecstasy, pain and pleasure, sadness and happiness. But the other person who has now educated himself, disciplined himself, is following strictly the 9 basic principles of self-disciplining: Viveka, Vairagya, Sama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, Mumukshvatya. 9 disciplines. Each discipline has a role to play in our spiritual life. A person who has been pursuing this, he is absolutely unattached and he is one with the divine. This is the second shloka. Samane brikshe purusho nimagnaha anishaya shoshati mujjamanaha jushtam jada pashyati anyam isham asya mahimanam iti vita shoka. By that attitude, you enjoy the magnificence, the excellence of your own being. Now you are no more depending on the world to give you reactive results. You are now involved within yourself and following those 9 disciplines. You have gone beyond and you see the majesty and excellence of the divine everywhere and you are involved with it, and therefore the concept of shoka, agony, misery, unhappiness, has totally disappeared from your brain. Vita shoka, that is, the concept of misery, agony, pain has not registered, is no more registering in your brain. I say, I am very unhappy. What are you saying? What word are you using? This I, who was a victim of unhappiness, this I has now achieved such a state. When my friend comes and tells me I am unhappy, I say, what word are you using? What language are you using? I don't understand. What is shoka? It has been wiped out from my concept. That will what happen to you. How will it happen? The third shloka. He tells you when it will happen and how it will happen. Yada, as and when, following these disciplines of life, as and when, pasha pashyati. Pasha here means experiencer. I see you, but my sense of awareness, my chetana, my chit sarupata enlightens it, and I say, I see Swami Vivekananda ji sitting in front of me. That is my experience. End result of seeing is experiencing. Pasha means here a man who has experienced it. What did he experience? Yada pasha, experiencer. Pashyate, experiences. That extremely majestic, beautiful, golden effulgence all within himself. His true original nature, Chaitana Swarupata, Nitya Suddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavan, Sat Chit Ananda Swarup Svabhavan. That is it. He sees means he experiences that Kartaramisham Purusham Brahmajonim, that sublime being who is the manager, as it were, of the whole cosmos. Creator, preserver, destroyer, total manager. Brahmajonim, he is the cause of this. And the seer, as and when experiences that effulgence is equated with awareness of his or her true original nature. Tada, when such a situation happens, the knower, the experiencer, Vidyan, Punna Papi Vidhuyaha, the concept of sin and concept of virtue. Virtue and vice, they have no hold on him. He has wiped it out clean by being not attached. By being not attached. Punna papi vidhuya niranjanam, without any taint, without any pollution, without any adulteration. Vidhuya, he has washed himself and has become absolutely untainted, unadulterated, clean, unpolluted. Parat param purusham, param samyam upaiti. Paramam samyam upaiti. He achieves that state of paramasamyam, absolute sublime equanimity, serenity, tranquility, indisturbability. Nothing in this world can disturb him. What to speak of disturbing him? Will not be able to touch him. What to speak of touching him? Will not be able to reach him. He is far above that. Paramam samyam upaiti. That was the third shloka. Now the fourth shloka. The fourth shloka, if you do not understand it correctly, according to our philosophical conclusions, according to shastric injunctions of the scriptures, you will always land yourself into trouble. Therefore, this fourth shloka is extremely important. What does he say? What is the quantum of his experience? I say I am sad. I experience myself an emotion known as sadness. My personality has blended itself with that emotion and I am attached to it, and I say I am sad. That person who has gone through this drill and experienced that goal, the quantum of his experience is being explained. What does he experience? So, that thing, Esha Vastu, that element, Sarvabhutair Vivati Prana hi Esha. As the cosmic life force, which is the source of life in this world, it is he who manifests himself as the cosmic life force. and He is everywhere, and I am that. Paramamsamyam upaiti, it has been said, he has achieved that stage. Now, what is the description of that stage? Though it cannot be described, but it can be symbolically expressed. Tatastha lakshana. Symbolically it can be expressed. He says, what is his behavior pattern is? He walks around this world. He sees that Paramamsamyam, that ultimate entity, is everywhere, manifesting itself in so many cosmic energy forms. Energy has infinite number of forms to express. So he sees that ultimate entity in infinite shapes and sizes and forms. If that is so, if he has achieved that oneness, then he sees himself everywhere. The question of controversial discussion does not arise. I see myself in you. You see yourself in me. We are one. Through two different vehicles, we express our views. Is there any possibility of saying you're wrong, I'm right? Both of us are right according to our viewpoints. So he says, he who sees oneness in this universe manifesting as the cosmic life force, because he sees oneness everywhere, the concept of I and you, asmat and jusmat pratyaya gochara, that is, I am and you are, that you has disappeared. I am in you, you are in me, we are the same. I am one with the whole cosmos. As because there is no separateness, you don't override anybody with your opinion. You are there. You are everywhere. So the question of atibadi, sarvan anyan atitya badati iti adivadi. He becomes na atibadi. He does not override and overrule everybody because his ego has merged with the infinite. So he is not at cross purpose with anybody. He sees through Trigunatmika Maya, he is expressing himself in Shuddha Sattvic Vikara, in Rajasic Vikara, in Tamasic Vikara. And he knows it is he who is playing. I will tell you an example from Sri Ramakrishna. Not that bhavati bhatibadi, but sarvatmanubhuti. What is that concept? I feel. I am with the whole world. I am the essence, the magnificence, the majesty of the soul, which is all over. Sri Ramakrishna one day, while strolling in the Dakshineshwar lawn, sees a boy playing in the field, and very deftly and cleverly he gets hold of a dragonfly. A boy, while playing in the fields of the Dakshineshwar, got hold of a dragonfly. And then that boy gets a grass and then removes the leaves of the grass and that stem of the grass which is as thin as a pin. And he pushes the pin into the body of the dragonfly. And he's enjoying. That is his game. And Sri Ramakrishna, when he was in that stage of Sarvatma Anubhuti, one with all, he laughs and in ecstatic mood he says, "Oh God, what a divine play. You as this boy, you have caught yourself as a dragonfly in the boy's thumb and fingers. And you as a boy, as a stem of a grass, you're playing with yourself by hurting yourself, and everything is enjoyable. It is all God's play. It is all God's play. He hears the chirping of the birds and he listens and says, they're chirping the Vedic mantras. He was so saturated with the Vedic truth, the chirping of the bird denoted to him the chirping of Vedic mantras. How can such a person egoistically say, I am right, you are wrong? How can such a person say? This is the behavior pattern of a realized soul. He lives in this world with utmost modesty, utmost humility, utmost understanding of oneness of the universe. And that modesty and humility is to be found in Sri Ramakrishna's life. He is always doing namaskarams and pranams to everybody. I'll give you another example. These are the examples which exemplify the examples of the Upanishads. That is why Madhavananda used to say, if you do not read the Upanishads properly, you will not understand Sri Ramakrishna's Kathamrita. And if you don't read the Kathamrita properly, you will not understand the intricacies of the scriptures, the Upanishads. Sri Ramakrishna, by horse-driven cart, those box carts, used to visit Calcutta. One day he had to go to a friend's place for satsang. He was late and he told the coachman, take me by the shortest route. Now, up till now, Sri Ramakrishna used to go to that place, but the coachman used to avoid a red light area. You understand what a red light area is. That day, as Sri Ramakrishna himself said, that take me through the shortest route, the coachman understood that Sri Ramakrishna hurry. He drove through it was an evening hour. All the ladies, they were well dressed, waiting for their clients and customers at the doorstep on the roadside. And Sri Ramakrishna, like a child, keeps on looking at them. And after seeing it for a while, listen to his comment. Oh, my mother Bhavatarini Kali, you are really, really fantastic. You are indescribable. Just now as Bhavatarini Kali, you took my pranam in Kali Mandir when I left, and now to give me various expressions and experiences, you are standing here in this form. I bow down to thee, Ma Kali, I bow down to thee. Any other person would say, oh, they are the scum of the society, they're the dirt of the society. Oh, it's too bad, I am no good. I am good, they are bad. Atibadi, speaking above others. egocentric vanity. That vanity totally loses in that person. If there is an ego, it is the cosmic ego. So, here now, the first expression of a realized soul who has experienced oneness of the universe. And don't forget this formula. The Upanishads say, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. All that you see, all that you experience is nothing else but the manifestation of Brahman. Axiomatic truth, QED. No more questions. Case closed. You listen to that. Everything is a manifestation of Brahman. I belong to this world. Does he mean to say, I am Brahman? I am Atma Apitu Brahma? I question myself. Is it that? That is what they mean, that I am also Brahman. Well, let me see. What disciplines I have to undergo? Following those disciplines, I am Atma Brahma translates into experiencing Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Experiencing, not rationalizing. This is a formula. Having achieved that, your body remains and you are living in this world. What is the distinction between an egoistic jiva and a cosmic egoistic Shiva, Paramatma? What is the distinction? His ego has merged with the Absolute. The water known as Paramatta River has merged through the harbor into the Tasman Sea, irretrievably lost, indistinguishably messed up. So, he sees as life force, cosmic life force, the whole thing, and the sense of separateness has totally disappeared. He lives in oneness. Prana hiyesha sarvabhutair vibhati bijanan, knowing, experiencing it very well. Bhavate natibadi. He does not live in egocentric existence. Small ego and big ego. Anyway, and what else? This is most important. Atma Kriya, Atma Rati Kriyavan. Esha Brahmavidam Barishta. A person having achieved that state, experienced that state where he doesn't overrule anybody because the concept of separateness has totally disappeared. So what happens? The next description. That person, he is a Brahmagya. There are other Brahmagyas also. But a person who is always established in the concept of oneness with the Brahman, he plays. Kriya is playing. Playing means you need tools and tackles to play with. Atman, the soul, is the tool and tackle with his place. How does he play? He sees the whole world as Brahman and he interacts with everybody as manifestation of Brahman. Atma Kriya. And when he is alone, he is totally absorbed in the majesty and excellence of the soul. Magnificence of the soul. Atma Krida, Atma Rati. And the last verse is most important. He is Kriyaban. He is active in the society. What is his activity? He spreads around tirelessly, unstoppably, the concept of oneness of the word by sheer expressing divine love and affection. Because we love ourselves, and it is love, Ananda Surupata is its nature. So a person who has totally lost the concept of separateness, therefore egoistic I am holier than thou, has totally disappeared. He sees himself and himself as the supreme being everywhere all the time. And when he is active, he spreads Sama, Dama, Daya, Shanti, Kshama, the divine qualities all around. All around divine quality. That is his activity in the world, based on not egocentric vanity, but divine-centric divinity. Esha, he is best specimen of Brahmavits. That is, various types of Brahmavitas, he is the best amongst them. Not the quantum of experience, but how he utilizes that experience to serve God's children. He is the most excellent of Brahmavitas. And I have given you an example, dear, which is compiled from various parts of the Upanishad. I have, since my dawn of desire to be one with Brahman, I have chosen Jnana Marga, the path of knowledge. I run away from the society. I live all by myself in hills and dales, and my time is totally utilized, rotates around self-disciplining. Psychologically, I would like to feel myself cut off from the world. And say, for by way of example, I do it for 40 years. Those 40 years, this body, this mind, this willpower, this emotion, this rationality has built up a deep groove. And I become, after my knowledge, after my experience, my body-mind complex becomes a slave of that. I can't outgrow that. It's a 40 years created intense habit. Jnanamargi. As Totapuri was. He didn't believe in Maya, he didn't believe, that's Atman. But he was incomplete. One of the signs of Avatara is they complete the incompleteness of the so-called Guru, whom he has honored by accepting him as Guru. And ultimately Totapuri came to realize, yes, Maya is a Jnana Shakti, and it is a part and parcel of the divine play. He walked across the Ganges to drown himself, and the water spread and gave him a highway. He couldn't drown. A Ghor Maya comes and tells Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna laughingly says, Nanta, you naked one, Mother has taught you the wisdom. Don't say it is only Brahman. Brahma and Shakti are abhinna. They are not separable. You can outgrow, but you have to come down there. So now this is Jnanamargi. He is absolutely without any notion and etc., etc. He has a total psychic control of himself by following these disciplines. He has deadened his emotions. He is a victim of his habit of sadhana, the practice. And after realization, he continues the same way. The example that I give you, he comes and stays in a small hut on the side of the village, and the village lady comes and with fruit flowers and food and makes noise to wake him up. He doesn't bother. Then loudly she says, Mahatma, here is your food. As and when it pleases you, you eat. Mahatma has no response. She goes away. She comes and finds the food is unused. That is what it is. And after 3 nights, the Mahatma walks away. He did take some food, some time to keep his body mind together. Here's one example of Brahmagya Purusha. The second example is a little responsive to the world. When he hears some noise, he opens his eyes, sees, oh yes, ma'am, our mother, what can I do for you? What brings you here? No, Baba Swami, I brought food for you, Viksha for you. Please kindly eat it and bless me so that my family and etc. progresses. Yes, by all means, leave it there, I will eat it. The next day he comes and finds that he has eaten and the utensils are all clean and kept there. He is responsive to the world. Courteously, elegantly, ethically, morally, and partially socially. That is my duty, I have to do this. The third person, he comes, is alert and awake. He was meditating. As soon as he heard a noise, he became absolutely, what's it, mom, what's it? Now I have brought, oh yeah, what have you cooked for me? And she says, and what about your family? He talks to him as a great old understanding friend. You want me to eat in your presence so that you can enjoy that you are feeding a Swami? Yes, Paul. He enjoys. He washes his dishes. Second day he hears the weeping from the village, weeping and wailing. He heard it. He went out, goes to there, sees a widow, her only son, has been bitten by a snake and died. He immediately made himself comfortable in that crowd and started consoling them, comforting them, doing whatever he could do to comfort them. And he's supposed not to stay beyond 3 days. He stays on in the village when he's totally assured the village people have found their feet and they are starting their regular routine life. Taking leave of everybody advising them to maintain their calm and cool, depend on God, and he goes away. All of them are Brahmagyanis. Now tell me, whom would you like most? Tell me honestly. I'm sure you like the third most. Now, coming back to the most important part of this study. Why did Sri Ramakrishna, through Swami Vivekananda, initiated this karma yoga, karma marga, to be a Paramahamsa realized so? Why? Because they saw the so-called Swamis, in the name of independence of Maya, were an irresponsible lot living as a parasite on the society. That is when Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda arrived. That is what they saw. So they were not away from the Upanishads or the Gita or the Brahma Sutra or any other scriptures. They got it from the gem collection of this and said, look, you have to be a karma yogi, and karma marga is your way of life, and you will be a paramahamsa when you are a brahmavid, because all through your life, 70 years, you are serving humanity. You have never thought of yourself. You are serving Guru Maharaj, you are serving Holy Mother, you are serving Swamiji all through your life. You had no time to look after yourself. You are dedicated to Guru Maharaj's cause to help his children. And because of this karma marga, a time will come when you will totally saturate yourself with the idea of the divinity and you will be one with the divine. Firstly, it is Savikalpa Samadhi. You merge with your Ishtadeva, Parameshwara, and the next step is Maya Atita or Dvaita Brahma. Their true original nature, they have taken this body for your and my convenience. And the message that they left behind to make you a Paramhamsa Brahmakya. Esha Brahmavidam Varishtaha. That is why Swami Vivekananda was compelled, though he was kicked around as it were, that he has said, Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharma swarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namah. Of all the avatars that we know, dear, your life pattern, your behavior pattern, and your way of living in this world is totally unblemished. With an electronic microscope, if you judge his behavior pattern, you will never find something which is ethically, morally, and otherwise wrong. From the point of propriety is wrong. He never committed a mistake. That is why he was compelled to say Avatara Varishta, not the quantum of Avataratta. They are all avatars. But the comparison comes in the domain of Maya. How did you conduct your life in this world? I can look through an electronic microscope, multiplying it 10,000 times and see where one had gone wrong, sitting here at the present age. Why should Ramachandra be so unkind to Ma Janaki for no fault of hers? She is Avatara Sangini, she is Bhagavati. To set an example to the world, Avatara Sangini was put into such a disrepute, dishonor. Today, somehow or other, it doesn't go down the throat. A faultless, guideless, pure lady being treated that way, it's repulsive. But he did it to set an example. That much is correct. But from a wider perspective, it was done. There are similar incidences in Krishna's life. Similar instances in Christ's life. Muhammad's life. But don't think I eat his salt. I will request you, read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, either the ancient one by Jagadananda Swami. If you know Bengali, read the actual Leela Prasanga, or English translation or any regional language. Read it thoroughly and read it with a great critical attitude. And if you can find any fault, come and give me 2 slaps on my 2 cheek. This is a game. This is what I bet you with. Avatara Varishtha Esha Brahmavidam. Of all the Brahmavits, such a person with such an attitude towards life is the best in the domain of Maya. What is the domain of Maya? The way they behave in this society. That is why, to sort of soften it up, the other shloka was written, which was exactly the same but a little milder. It is Sarvadharma Sthapakatvam, Sarvadharma Swarupaka, Acharjana Mahacharyo, Ramakrishnaya Tenava. You are of all the teachers, one of the great ones. The best, he didn't use the word superlative. You are a great one. That is why the second shloka was created. Anyway, dears, this is what it is. Varishtata in the comparative term is a post-jnana period, post-brahmagya period. Now we move to the 5th, a little more. He tells you how you reach that. What happens to you when you reach? When you can be called the best specimen among the lot. All that has been described. I am inspired. I would like to know how to reach it. He gives you a catch. The Upanishad tells you these are the disciplines holding on to which, practicing which, saturating yourself with, you will reach that goal. Instructive. Satyena labhya. It is achievable, attainable, experienceable by satya, truth. Tapasa hiesha atma, by tapasya, an intense burning effort, unsparing, intense, uninterrupted effort. Tapasya. Satya, tapasya, samyak jnana. Your attitude should be absolutely stuck to your goal. No migration, no deviation. And brahmacharjena nityam, total celibacy. And the celibacy means something more. You read the definition of brahmacharya either in your, what do you call that? Amar Kosha, the Sanskrit encyclopedia. It will tell you what is what. Nittam. Nittam is a Madhya Dipika Nyaya. I remember when we were young, we used to go out on an annual vacation for 3 months. 2 months, not 3. Not the puja period, but the Xmas period, because it was the English calendar that we had to follow at that time. We had to hire a building. We hired a building, our district magistrate, an English gentleman. He had his another house. The house had a 4-side wraparound veranda, a kitchen and a toilet outside the main house with a little covered corridor. 4 rooms and 1 pillar about 3 feet by 3 feet square, a hollow pillar. There are fireplaces at the bottom, 4, and right above, behind apart the chimney is closed, there's a groove where you put a light. That light illuminates all the four. The four chimneys go above and meet into one. And in that place is a hollow, one light. That light is a night lamp to light up all the four rooms. One lamp. It is known as Madhya Deepika Nyaya example. Madhya, center lamp. That center lamp used to illuminate as night light all the four lamps, houses. This word Nittam, always without let, without hindrance, without any interruption, without any break. These four disciplines, Satya, Tapasa, Samajnana, Brahmacharya. Satyena labhya. Guru Maharaj said in Kali Yuga, Satya is the tapasya. Why? Have you analyzed why? Jatha jatha kathanam, jatha jatha varnanam is the definition of Satyam. I see something. Because of my ego, I have a tendency to add a little spice and salt when I express it to others, to make it appealing to him. Jatha jatha kathanam. You use it verbatim. Jatha jatha varnanam. You describe it exactly as you saw. No spice and salt being added by your egoistic attitude. It's a method of controlling your ego. And that, as you know, is a Chinese wall between you and your achievement. So, Samyagyana, Brahmacharya, Tapasya, Satyam, Nityam, Anena Nityam. With all these four disciplines, you have to perfect thoroughly well. And then what will happen to you? Antashvarire Jyotirmaya Ishubhra Jam Pashanti Jataya Sheena Dosha. Here, he has specifically mentioned about sannyasis. Jati is a sannyasi, Jataya is plural, all the sannyasis. This shloka applies to the sannyasis only. Why? Because this was written when Chatura Ashrama, the four stages of life, were watermarked. Watertight compartments. Brahmacharya, Garastha, Banaprastha, Sannyas. And Jadahareva Virajet, Tadahareva Prabhajet. You can take sannyas in any of these three stages, provided you have that burning desire. We'll take up this shloka during our next class. It is very important, this shloka and the next shloka. Then we migrate again to other ideas. Thank you. Thank you, dears. Thank you for your attention.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.